stand alone. We set sail on a voyage of discovery and danger.
The wood has just cracked.
Hello, I'm Yvette Fielding, and this is Most Haunted. This is a first in our 8 series of paranormal investigations. A location like no other, surrounded not only by hazardous waters, but also by a growing reputation as being haunted. So wish us well as we head out across the Solent and into the seriously spooky Spitbank Fort. Spitbank is the smallest of the 4 19th century forts that were designed to defend Portsmouth Harbour from French invaders. Its intricate construction was completed in 1877, 16 long years after it began. Thankfully, though, it never was a witness to armed conflict, as Britain's most famous naval city stood firm from any imminent maritime invasion. Over 150 men were once based here, but by 1956 it closed, as the naval threat ceased to exist. Nowadays, visitors can make the 1-mile cruise past the waterfront city's 21st century construction to see this remarkable building for themselves. One common occurrence that happens in the kitchen and dining room area is the sound of breathing when there's no one here. It's also thought that a poltergeist lurks in this area, and it likes to show itself by moving bottles, smashing plates and throwing chairs across the floor.
Yeah, I've had several paranormal experiences. The first one was one Christmas we had people on board, and we have a shelf unit where we keep the pudding dishes. It only holds sort of 5 at a time. And some of these dishes were actually taken out of the shelf and thrown with force to the floor, where they all shattered. Also had name calling, where you think somebody's called your name and you know there's nobody about. Occasionally hear whistling. And a few months back I had a noise in my ear downstairs in the lower basement.
It's said there's supposed to be a negative energy down here in the basement. Many people hear hissing noises, and I have already experienced that. Others have felt hands on their shoulders. I'm certainly not looking forward to coming down here later on this evening.
As far as I know, there's only been 1 recorded death here at the fort. A fellow called Henry, who was a sergeant, who was up on top of the castle when they were testing guns. These were breech-loading guns, which you put the shells in from the back, and unfortunately the back of the gun came open, the shell came out and exploded and blew him to pieces. And there are many eyewitness accounts of him moving things, touching people on the shoulder, and making a strange hissing noise in people's ears.
Believe it or not, this used to be a bedroom, and many people feel very uncomfortable in here. Some people have witnessed the dark shape of a man standing by one of the walls, mumbling incoherently, and a shadow has been seen walking through the room.
This is a scary place in the daytime. I shudder to think what it's going to be like in the dark.
Parapsychologist Matthew Smith is often loath to buy into any hint of paranormal psychology, but even he has to own up to the amazement we were all sharing at this particular location. This has to be one of the strangest places we've ever investigated.
This is probably the most bizarre place I've ever been. I mean, even now you're hearing the wind swirling around. It's going to be really weird later on when we're trying to locate sounds, if that's one thing people experience. But it's just so strange. We're a mile off the coast. It's just such a cold and damp place. I'm quite sceptical. I don't typically kind of get too spooked out about these places, but this place is just such a weird place. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. It's going to be a challenge investigating this place, though.
I mean, I've already had something happen to me in the basement. We were doing a piece to camera, and just before the cameras were rolling, I heard a hissing noise, and then there was a huge bang, and I ran. I didn't know where it was coming from. I checked it with one of the eyewitnesses, Pauline, and she said she was working, sweeping down there a month ago, and she heard exactly the same thing. So what do you make of that?
Well, it's fascinating that you've had the experience in the same place where somebody else had that experience. That's obviously one place we're going to have to concentrate on tonight.
Is there one particular part of this strange building that you're keen to investigate?
Well, the one area that's kind of most unusual, and I'm not particularly looking forward to, but I've got a horrible feeling we'll be down there at some point, is the bolt passage. And this is a passage that goes around the whole fort. And again, odd things have been experienced in there. I think we'll find people will just be very scared going in there because there's kind of one way in, one way out. And if we're not in the right frame of mind investigating that, I think some unusual things could happen. Maybe nothing paranormal, but we need to go in there with the right frame of mind.
When you say right frame of mind, sometimes you find, which is quite interesting, if you are scared, and I know this is something that Louis Sava has talked about, if you are scared, it heightens the energy, therefore you're more likely to create the poltergeist activity.
One theory could be that by being in this right psychological state of mind, that helps the genuine phenomena to occur. The problem associated with that, of course, is it makes it very difficult to rely on people's testimony, because any slight sound or even the belief you're hearing something, if you're very scared, you're going to start seeing things, hearing things that aren't, there's nothing paranormal, there's no ghost there. So it may make for an interesting evening, but we've got to be very careful in trying to interpret what goes on.
We may have more than just this remote retreat playing on our minds tonight, but we do intend to triumph over any hysteria that our night's work may hold. And perhaps the introduction of two mediums may help to alleviate our understandable fears. Medium David Wells and guest psychic Gordon Smith have already safely negotiated the Solent stormy waters. But what would they feel is really responsible for haunting the grim surroundings of Spitbank Fort?
This place actually I feel is more active.
Right.
And especially the further into it I come, there's spots, or there are spots I feel further up here, around this sort of bar area. Again, I don't actually get a spirit presence again, but I can actually feel sort of psychic activity. I feel as though things have happened here. I don't know. There's a lot of noise that I pick up. That's the first thing. I pick up sounds, different sounds in my ears, and it almost feels like a hissing noise or a whistling noise, I've got to say.
But what is causing the phenomena here?
What's causing the phenomena here? That I don't know at this moment, because I don't feel that. There's nothing that strong up here that can give me a clue at the moment. But I feel as though as we go down, that's what I'm drawn to going. It's going, down beneath here.
Although pleased that Gordon was feeling something from the fort's recent past, we had to be a little concerned that this energy appeared to manifest on a lower level, seemingly the dark and dank passageways that form the fort's ground floor. And this was a place where Spitbank's malevolence would rise to prominence.
I heard this voice saying, "I don't like you."